beautiful souls. Lori Rising here, Star Channel and Sacred Medicine Guide. Welcome to the Venus Star Point in your life. It happened today at 7:36 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on August 13th, 2023. This is a really powerful beginning to a new 8-year cycle. So that's why I wanted to jump on and do this quick energy update so that we can really bathe ourselves in what this means, how it feels, and where we have the potential to go from here. But first of all, if you are new to the channel, welcome. I'm so excited that you found us. We would love to welcome you into this beautiful, powerful community. Definitely hit that subscribe button and the notification bell and support me in being able to continue to share these free transmissions, because I trust that they are supporting you in this raw and wild unfolding experience of humanity. Am I right? On this beautiful paradise of Earth. And that's really a lot of the energy that we're going to be dropping into today. So thank you for that. And let's get to it. So Venus has gone Cazimi. And if you know me, you know your girl loves a good Cazimi because I have so much fire in my chart. I love getting things lit up with all of that light, right? The light that pulsates through our cells is the same as the light of the sun, as the light that's now bathing Venus, as she has gone kind of incognito from our sight, yet in full rebirth in that beautiful light power, which is what we're being asked to do as well. So Venus can look like it looks like the moon. It waxes and wanes. So it has been waning into what is the moon's equivalent of a new moon for Venus, which is interesting because we are 3 days away from the Leo new moon on August 16th. Yeah, it is. We just have a continual lineup of really powerful points of activation. So I want us to have that awareness of what we're working with. Okay. So Venus is also moving from an evening star. So now that it is no longer seen by view, when it comes into our sight again, it is now going to be a morning star. And I find that to be really significant as well. So there's only 2 planets that do this. They're known as the inner planets. That's Mercury and Venus. Venus orbits around the sun 13 times in an 8-year cycle. So in 8 years, Venus will come back to this exact transit, which is Venus retrograde in Leo, Cazimi with the sun, to complete this cycle that we are now embarking upon. And especially after the Lionsgate portal activation, it feels like the cellular upgrade is where we're now going to be living. It's like more of that ecstatic life, that more blissful feeling is going to be flowing in our lives and guiding us in easier ways than it's been up until now, because we've been doing so much of that deep, disruptive, and transformative work of the lineage wounds. And that's where we're getting to those deepest spaces of ourselves, those deepest imprints that, you know, are found in the crevices that we really have had to excavate over the last few years in every retrograde cycle with the planets. And we are now moving towards, with Mercury going into retrograde on the 23rd, we're moving towards 6 planets in retrograde, then Uranus retrogrades on the 29th, and Uranus is in Taurus. Okay, now I'm going to shoot some things at you here. So we're really working with the divine feminine first and foremost. That is like changing things completely 180 than what generations of us have always known, which we've been pushing forward in that imbalanced masculine. And that's what has created more and more disassociation and disconnection from our soul, from our true light, and that innate guidance system that we came in with. And because we are such an evolved species, we have free will and we have these really incredible thinking minds, but that imbalanced masculine has pushed us so far into the mind with all of the systems that have garnered so much power over time that it has held us in this sometimes self-imposed prison, but oftentimes collective imposed prison, because we are energy. We are always absorbing the frequency that's around us. So whatever's dominant, especially if you're plugged in at all to that stream of consciousness, you are going to be absorbing it. Okay. So that's where it's really a beautiful drop in to know how deeply the divine feminine is continuing to be activated in all of these celestial events. But today is the 13th, which is a divine feminine number. Venus is the divine feminine. It's our receptivity, our love. How do you want to be loved? How do you want to share love? It's our relationships. It's our giving and receiving. It's our money. It's how we show up in our lives. It's simplicity, nature, beauty. It's, really finding that power of the present moment is what I feel like Venus is, because ultimately, if we deduce that down, the power of the present moment is love, because we at our core are love. And then Venus rules Libra and Taurus. And Libra is all about balance in relationship, but balance from a place of internal strength, which is Taurus, right? Taurus is, how do you find the inner resources? We're always working with the lower, higher frequency of any sign, the essence of any sign, or the archetype of any sign. And so the lower frequency of Taurus can be stubbornness or stickiness, or it has to be my way, or I need certain things externally in order to feel okay internally, or in order to feel like I'm worthy. And Libra, the lower frequency, is self-sacrifice, like just bypassing your needs, who you are, how you came to be and shine and share, in order to keep that balance around you, that harmony around you, because then that's what we view as creating the balance within us. So when we combine those two and look into the high frequency of Taurus and Libra, it's really finding our inner resources, and then the balance outside of us actually emanates out from that field that we are the ones that we are in power of, that we are empowered in, right? And so we are just in really divine manifestation times. Especially with the Lionsgate portal that we just went through on 8/8. And the fact that Venus retrograde is in Leo wants you to really look at, how are you showing up in your life? Like, what is leading you by your heart? What isn't? Like, where are you lacking that courage or bravery to stand out based on a story that you've been running about something that probably isn't even a reality, or probably isn't even true? But again, that's how powerful we are when we run something, a loop, for lifetimes, generations, even just for this life, or since a certain experience. That's going to gain more and more power in our life. And that's going to be bigger than anything that's in our actual present moment reality. So that's why it's such a beautiful time today to let yourself change your environment, especially if you're starting to feel any of that stickiness come up from the generational lack wounds, scarcity wounds, right? Because we are doing the deepest work there, and that can be hella uncomfortable when we get to experiences that we don't even remember in this lifetime, experiences that are just showing up now and we're feeling. And if we let our minds basically run wild with that, our minds can say, no, 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 and shut it back down, and we can repress it because it feels really out of control, right? And this is where we want to drop into that Venusian flow. We want to remember that when you're feeling something like that come up, like being out of control, rather than distracting yourself, because that's what we're really good at, right? We've taken on a lot of habits in this life that create distraction when we feel something that is kind of untethered within ourselves, that we literally cannot find the way into control for. So then we numb it out. So I'm going to invite you today, especially, change your environment, follow that feeling, and remember what your greatest elixir is. This is also when we get into Taurus energy, Venus ruling Taurus. What is your greatest elixir? Your greatest elixir is your home. Like you can look around, I can look around at this home and say, and in my mind think, oh, this is my home. And it's not really my home. My home is where I came from. My home is where I return to. My home is what's all around me that actually is in full connection with me at all times and always sending me messages, always having that life, that pulse of life force consciousness that I can connect into. And that's when I get that guidance system, really revving up. Like this home isn't going to be the thing that gets me going in that knowledge that reveals the medicine that reveals in my cells for the wounds that are also in my cells. Like it all comes together. And so we go to nature, we go to simplicity, we go to just non-resistant thought. So if you're having a hard time getting there, if those triggers are just feeling so overwhelming at this time, push play again and again and again on the meditation, on the breath work, in the group, in the soul family community that are all out there now in the age of Aquarius, all over the internet, in acupuncture points of the world. And they're there to hold you in those times. They're there to be that greatest support and your cheerleader in your full light and your full vulnerability and authenticity. Remember, that is our superpower. That is going to get us so much deeper to where we're going as a collective in the new earth frequency as we move into the new earth soul flow. So not only are we activating all of this divine feminine of receiving, of love, of flow, of adaptation, of just letting ourselves move through the river of life as it guides us, and trusting that when we're asked in these more intense times to unplug from all of the mind chatter and the what's coming next, what do I have to do? How do I, manage my future? Yeah, thank you. That was a big one. How do I manage my future? When you come back and let yourself just be in order to receive and hear, the future is going to unfold. We've got to find our way into that softness. We have to find our way into that trust, though. So I am going to invite you right now to get yourself a cheerleader. This is what's coming through about the relationship quality of Venus and Leo, of standing in your lion heart, standing in your truth, in your love, in your courage, on the stage of your life, how you really want to be showing up, no matter anyone's response around you. Like, we have to stop deciding how others are going to respond based on the way that we conduct ourselves or the energy that we allow to come out. We've got to just trust that what wants to come out is there not only for ourselves, for our own evolution, but for everyone else's. And we have to just allow it to unfold without needing to control it, without needing, again, Libra, needing all of that balance outside of us to find balance within us, and just let it go, let it be, and see how you start moving in new ways, because your soul gets so much deeper into alignment, because you feel that centeredness, because you're being, you're living out the soul's blueprint, which actually is the unlock to the accelerator of this life, the knowledge, the wisdom, the healer, like everything that you came to share, no matter how you share it, whether you share it for money or not, whether you consider that your job or not, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you're living it, because that's when we live the heart-led life. And that's when we realize the heart is the guidance system that we've been covering and protecting for so long. So let yourself be in the full evolution of life, and let everything else be in the full evolution, just like the seasons. Let them, grow to fruition and be what they want to be. Let them die off, let them move, let them come, go, whatever it is. Okay. So the other thing that I want to talk about is all of the sun activity. So basically, Venus going into the heart of the sun is activating that full power of intuitive guidance, innate hits, your gut instinct, in the confidence of light, the confidence of the sun, the masculine energy, the yang. That's where the sacred masculine comes in as the container to go forward in these new territories, these new frontiers that we are now traversing. Okay. Like what I like to call the new earth soul flow, because imagine, like, feel what it would feel like to have that liberation of trusting that you're going to be led to whatever it is that's going to activate your future in utterly divine and profound ways, instead of having to control it and force it and squeeze it. Like, just let yourself for a moment drop into how amazing that would feel. Close your eyes, let yourself feel into it, and then know that the only way we get there in a quantum leap is by hundreds, thousands, millions of us living that. When we start living it, instead of just thinking about it, instead of just talking about it in our spiritual groups and soul growth and personal development, when we start actually walking the talk, like living that day to day, that's going to spider web out in the light grid, the energy grid, and more of us that do it, we raise the frequency and the power of that. More people tap into it because we are energy. Our first language is energy. We're always feeling the energy before anything else. Okay. So I'm going to leave it at that. I hope that that was super supportive for you. Let me know below in the comments. How did you receive that? What's happening for you today? Is there anything coming up that's giving you an opportunity to practice? Remember that if you start feeling victimhood with something that's happening in your world as if it's happening to you, let yourself drop in. First of all, know that it's an opportunity to practice. Second of all, check in with yourself. Am I in resistance or am I in flow? Nothing else will shift that for you but you. And then find your way to the trust of that. We're at the tail end of one of our biggest meteor showers of the year, the Perseids. And last night was the peak, but you might be able to see some tonight as well. And the Leo new moon coming on the 16th is a micro moon. And so it's actually in the furthest path of its orbit. So as you can see, everything's lining up for us to basically absorb all of the stars through our senses, through our visual senses, through our feeling senses, through being prompted to come out and come under the stars and just letting ourselves bathe in that energy and remember who we are at our core and be reminded of how expansive we can be from our heart. Okay, that feels complete. I'm sending you all of the love on this Venus star point for your life and your new 8-year cycle until we return to this exact transit in 8 years. Remember, these are the new seeds that you're planting, just like a new moon. In 4 years, we'll go to the culmination. You'll let go of whatever hasn't been serving you and nurture the things that are absolutely expanding you in this experience. All right, y'all, until next time, and especially through the next few days, don't forget to keep looking up.